What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's still doing well and staying safe and healthy out there. I just want to start the video off by saying thank you to the new patrons who've joined the Patreon. It's very encouraging to me and inspires me to keep pushing out new content for you guys to keep you on your toes, and that keeps me on my toes. So I really appreciate the patrons who've joined, and I appreciate the ones who are still here. Don't hesitate to send me any comments, questions, concerns. I promise I'll get to them. I'm an open book, and that helps me grow as a musician as well. So keep them coming. And with that being said, we had one of the new patrons ask questions about how I use the arpeggios in my own practice. This was based off a question I think that was posed from one of the previous videos. But as far as arpeggios for me, I practice them. I don't practice them, I guess, all day. I try not to spend more than 30 minutes a day, 30 to 45 minutes a day going through arpeggio studies at this point in my playing, because I just, I use them as warm-up exercises more so than actually just constant study, because you can go way deep down the arpeggio study rabbit hole, which is great if you have more time to do that. I would encourage you to do that, because as I was saying before, you can break up, like, all of this arpeggio studies is like very numerical, and you can start with 1 3 5 7. You can go 1 7 5 3, and then you can take that up you can go through all the modes using that same pattern, which is it can be fun if you like math and you like numbers. You can really keep it fun and get to some amazing things. I usually just play 1 3 5 7 in my arpeggio studies. I'm usually just going up because I find, like, a lot of the lines, even the sweeps, you're always typically going 1 1 3 5 7, or 1 3 5 7, or if you're on a if you're going up the modes. So I'm right here, I'm just playing the arpeggio, sweeping it, and then playing some chromatic stuff in between. So, but with that being said, I always encourage, people to, explore for yourself, but I'll show you some of the things that I do just for warm up, and how they've helped me with my technique. So maybe it'll help you also. But don't hesitate to dig deeper or explore more, because when you start doing that, you have a tendency, at least I've learned, I retain more when I'm learning it myself than when somebody is just giving me, oh, go practice this or go practice that. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I would start off 1 3 5 7. We're on the key of A major 7. 1 3 5 7 down the scale. Then you're at the next mode, and you go up that arpeggio. And you can practice with the metronome, of course. Down. And of course, you can take your time and try to gradually speed it up, and then you can take it through the keys. Also, pay close attention to your right hand picking technique. You want to pick up, down, and down, up. That's just one, I guess, one little exercise you can do. Also, you can go up the arpeggio, down the arpeggio. Stuff like that. When you do stuff, as you do these though, You might also want to use like you know, the iReal book or whatever, and you'll just start looping the 2-5-1. And then you can just play these patterns and then start playing around with them. This is how I practice them. So in essence, what I'm doing is just going through the arpeggio, but also adding other movement in there, because once you go through the steps of just playing the arpeggio straight, then you want to try to make it fun and figure out ways to start playing through changes. Through chromaticism and arpeggio. So you go. So right there. Arpeggio up, arpeggio up, arpeggio. And then I'm basically coming down the scales, using chromaticism as well as just the scale itself. But before, at the beginning, of course, I'm playing arpeggio. So 2-5-1 and A major, you might go. Then you're on that. You know, you just try to make it fun, but the foundation is definitely learn the arpeggio in its rawest form, and then start to figure out, okay, well, if I got this, I'm playing the arpeggio, then I can just start my line, you know, off the arpeggio. So in this case, you know, if you got a 2-5-1, you can start the line off of. That's just a regular. You're on the third. Another arpeggio. So you got you know what I'm saying? So you can figure out different ways to make it fun, but before you do that, of course, you have to just know, you have to get your fingers accustomed to playing the arpeggiated pattern, you know, or arpeggiated riff. And I would start there, like start going up the arpeggio, down the scale, and then vice versa coming down. You know, and then once you get comfortable with that, you can move on to other more complicated arpeggio studies, like going up the arpeggio, down the arpeggio. And then try to figure out maybe how you might want to use that particular arpeggio study to create a line. Because at the end of the day, the arpeggios mean nothing if you can't use them for your benefit, not just in technique, but you can also use them to come up with, to create lines over 2-5-1s, 3-6-2-5s, dominant chords. And also, I'm just touching on the majors. Of course, you need to learn them in the minors, and harmonic minor and melodic minor. So you got, this is harmonic minor. So start with the major. Once you feel comfortable with the major, move on to the minor. Regular natural minor first, which is still essentially major. You're just starting on a different scale degree. You're starting on, so we're C major 7, of course, you're starting on A minor, which is a relative minor. Then move on to harmonic minor. And then, of course, you move on to melodic minor. Melodic minor is always tricky because your ear it has a tendency to want to go, to either the harmonic minor or the natural minor when you're coming down. But at any rate, those are the type of things I do to try to keep it fun, but also really dig into more arpeggio studies and tech, and just trying to keep that level of technique so I can use those arpeggios for line building exercises, if that makes any sense. So once again, to close the video out, I would encourage you to start with major, or you don't have to, but it's it's just a suggestion. Start with major and just focus on arpeggio up and arpeggio down, or you can just go arpeggio up and then come down the scale. But try to use these arpeggios to create lines. So you got 2-5 starting on a 2. And that may be a little bit, we can delve into that a little bit more in some subsequent videos, how you take just regular, arpeggios and build lines off of them. But I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. So that's just how I use the arpeggio studies, and hopefully that makes sense. I just use them as warm-up exercises primarily now, and just go up the scale, up the arpeggio, down the scale, vice versa, and be mindful of my wrist and alternate picking while doing it. So I'll leave you with those 2 exercises, and then we can always dive into it a little bit more. But I don't want to spend a whole lot of I don't want you to spend a whole lot of time just focused on arpeggios. I still, you still got to do ear training, you still got to do transcribing, you still got to learn songs, and you can use the arpeggios to play through songs and learn. You can arpeggiate through the chords and all of that. But most songs are going to be 2/5 based off of 2 most popular songs going to be based off of 2/5 anyway. So what I was showing you earlier is a great way to learn songs too. Like for instance, End of a Love Affair, where you have descending 2/5s. Then you have, of course, 2/5 in E flat, and then 2/5 in D flat. So you can. So I'm going up the scale, down the arpeggio, and then back up the arpeggio again. So the arpeggios, they are very necessary and very important to learn, but try to figure out ways to make them fun. And you can definitely use songs, progressions to do that. See right there, just by playing the arpeggio up and then coming down, you've already satisfied a 2/5-1 progression. You see what I'm saying? Do the same thing. And walk up the scale. You know, so the possibilities are endless with arpeggios. The primary thing you want to do is just to be able to execute them, and cleanly and with good technique. So hopefully that helps. I'm sorry if I rambled a little bit. It's so much, like I'm trying to make sure that that what's in my head is translated to the video. So if it doesn't, just shoot me another email if you still have trouble understanding what I'm trying to say as far as dealing with the arpeggios. Just shoot me another email and I can try to maybe get with you one-on-one to elaborate even further. But it becomes, after a while, it just becomes your own personal preference as to how you want to use the arpeggio studies. If you want to use them to build lines, if you want to just use them for technique, if you want to, it very much becomes our own personal preference. And like I said, you can always dig deeper and start, using the numerology of the arpeggios to get, different patterns and things like that. So hopefully that helps. There's more videos to come. I also want to let you all know that I have a new album coming out, just a duo record, and I'm gonna make that available. You all will be the first to get it on Patreon. The ones for those who subscribe to the third tier, but it'll also be out on YouTube and everything for you all to check out.